My wife emptied our joint account and texted, "I'm done with you, good luck getting by." I replied, "Same to you." She didn't know the account was a business credit line, solely in her name. The bank started hounding her about the $80,000 debt within an hour. I, 31, male, had been with Mia, 29, for 6 years, married for 3. The text hit while I was at my desk job on a Thursday afternoon. "Just cleared out our account. I'm leaving you for someone with real drive. Good luck getting by without me. Lawyer's already on the divorce. Don't try to find me." I stared at my phone, then checked our banking app. Sure enough, the account we used for household expenses showed a previous balance of $80,000. Here's the thing about that account, though. When we moved in together 4 years ago, Mia insisted on managing our finances. She was working at a credit union then, claimed she knew all the hacks for maximizing interest and getting the best accounts. I was young, smitten, and clueless about money, so I agreed. She set up what she called our shared account and added me as an authorized user. Said it was smarter than a standard joint account for tax benefits and credit building. I transferred my share every month, she paid the bills, and it worked fine. What I didn't know until much later, and what Mia apparently still didn't realize, was that she'd opened a business line of credit, not a checking account, in her name only, as the sole owner of her freelance design business that never took off. I figured this out 8 months ago when I started learning about finances, ironically because Mia kept calling me financially incompetent. Noticed odd terms on a statement, did some research, called the bank pretending to be confused about our account type. The rep explained I was just an authorized user on a business credit line, not liable for any debts. Only the account owner, Mia, was responsible for repayment. I kept quiet, kept transferring my half each month, but I also opened my own personal checking account and started stashing an emergency fund just in case. So when that text came, after the initial shock, I actually chuckled. She'd just stolen $80,000 from herself, from a credit line she'd have to repay, with interest. I texted back, "Same to you." Then I waited. It took exactly 73 minutes for my phone to blow up. Mia calling. Declined. Unknown number, probably her mom. Declined. Mia calling again. Declined. Text from Mia. "What did you do?" Text from Mia. "The bank says I owe them money." Text from her. "This is your debt too." Text from Mia. "Pick up your phone." I screenshot everything, then blocked her number. 20 minutes later, her sister Lauren called. I actually liked Lauren, so I answered. "James, what's going on?" Mia's freaking out. Something about the bank calling about a huge debt. "Lauren, your sister just drained what she thought was our joint account and texted me she's leaving me. Turns out it's a business credit line in her name, long pause. She stole money from a credit line? Technically, she borrowed it from herself, and now she owes the bank $80,000 plus interest. But that was your money too." "No, I was just an authorized user. I put money in monthly, which technically counted as payments toward the credit line. But the debt? All hers. You knew? Found out 8 months ago. Never thought she'd do something this reckless, though." Lauren was silent for a moment. "James, she's with someone else. Has been for months. Some NFT guy named Derek she met at a networking event. I figured as much. You need to help her with this debt." "Why would I do that?" "She just stole what she thought was my money and left me for another guy. Because it's the right thing to do." "The right thing?" "Lauren, she tried to leave me with nothing. She thought I'd be broke and desperate. The only reason she's in trouble is because she didn't understand her own financial setup." I hung up. Update 1. The entitlement hit cosmic levels. First, Mia tried the legal route. Had a cut-rate lawyer send me a letter demanding I cover half the debt, claiming it was marital funds. My lawyer, already retained, responded with a clear statement. I was an authorized user, not a cosigner. The debt predated our marriage since she opened the account before we wed. Not my problem. Then came the emotional manipulation via her parents. Her dad, Paul, showed up at my apartment building. Doorman buzzed me. "There's a Paul here to see you. Says it's urgent. Tell him I'm not here." Could hear Paul shouting from the lobby about man-to-man talks and doing what's right. Security eventually escorted him out. But here's where it gets spicy. "Remember Derek, the NFT guy?" Lauren called again with some gossip. Apparently, Mia had told Derek she was getting at least $80,000 in the divorce, plus alimony, plus half my savings. She'd painted herself as married to a tech mogul, I'm in IT support, who was rich but stingy. Derek thought he'd landed a sugar mama. When Mia told him about the debt, he vanished. Ghosted her within 24 hours. She tried moving into the apartment they'd been renting together. Yeah, she'd already signed a lease with him. But surprise, he'd never added her name to it. The landlord wouldn't let her in without Derek's approval, and Derek had told them she wasn't authorized. So now Mia was homeless, $80,000 in debt, and single. Did I feel bad? For about 0.3 seconds. Then I recalled the "good luck getting by" text and went back to eating my toast. But Mia wasn't done. Oh no, she spun a victim narrative online, posted on social media about how her financially abusive ex-husband tricked her into debt, how I'd rigged the banking system to trap her. Problem was, she forgot several mutual friends worked in finance. Her former co-worker from the credit union, Malik, commented, "Mia, you worked in banking. You opened that account yourself. I remember you bragging about the perks." She deleted the post, but screenshots were already spreading. Then came the truly pitiful attempt. She contacted my mom. Tried to get her to convince me to help with the debt. My mom's response was epic. She sent me the screenshot. "Mia, Mrs. Carter, James won't help with this mix-up about our finances. As his mother, can you talk sense into him? Mom, the same sense you had when you were cheating on my son with that NFT idiot? That kind of sense? Delete my number." But the peak entitlement came yesterday. I got a call from the bank. Not about the debt. About Mia trying to report the authorized user card as fraud. She claimed I'd somehow stolen from the credit line without her knowledge. The bank rep sounded exhausted. "Sir, we've reviewed the account history. Every transaction from your card was for routine household expenses, groceries, utilities, etc. Does she really want us to investigate this as fraud? What happens if you do? Filing a false fraud report is a federal crime. And since she sent texts admitting to taking the money, she withdrew $80,000 at once. How is that not flagged? Business credit lines have different rules. It was technically her available credit, but now she owes it back with interest. The rate is substantial. How substantial? 24.99% APR. I nearly choked on my tea. At that rate, if she only made minimum payments, she'd be paying forever. Update 2. The spiral sped up faster than I expected. Mia's lawyer dropped her after she couldn't pay the retainer. She tried representing herself at our first divorce hearing, showed up in designer clothes, probably bought with the stolen money, and demanded alimony because she was used to a certain lifestyle. The judge reviewed her financial records, saw the $80,000 withdrawal, saw her texts admitting to taking it, saw she'd been employed full-time until she quit 2 weeks ago. Apparently thought she wouldn't need to work after cleaning me out. Judge, "Ma'am, you withdrew $80,000 from a credit line, quit your job, and now want your ex-husband to support you?" He tricked me. He knew it was a credit line. Did he force you to open the account? No, but did he force you to withdraw the money? No, but he should have told me. You set up the account. You managed it for years. You worked in banking. Ignorance of your own financial instruments isn't your ex-husband's responsibility. Zero alimony. She actually owes me money because she drained accounts with marital funds, including my contributions over the years. But here's where Mia's entitlement went galactic. She started calling my employer, daily, claiming I'd stolen from her, that I was dangerous. that they should know they employed a financial predator. HR called me in for a meeting. I explained, showed them the divorce papers, her texts, everything. They were sympathetic, but said the calls were disruptive. That's when I played my trump card. I'd been recording everything, legal in my state with one-party consent, including a voicemail where Mia said, "I'm going to call your job every day until you pay my debt. I'll say whatever I need to. They'll fire you." Eventually, HR's faces dropped. Legal got involved. They sent Mia a cease and desist letter. She violated it within 48 hours. My company pressed charges for harassment. But wait, there's more. The bank started collection proceedings. Mia missed her first payment because she'd already blown through most of the $80,000. How? According to Lauren, who was now thoroughly done with her sister, first-class tickets to Bali for her and Derek, $12,000. Designer shopping spree, $15,000. Deposit on a luxury condo she couldn't afford, $8,000. Down payment on a new car, $10,000. She couldn't get approved for the loan, though. Cosmetic treatments she'd always wanted, $7,000. The rest went to hotels, restaurants, and investing in Derek's NFT scheme. When the bank started calling about missed payments, she tried to negotiate, claimed financial hardship. They asked for proof of income. She had none. She'd quit her job, remember? They accelerated the debt. Full $80,000 plus interest due immediately. Mia's solution? She tried to get Paul to co-sign a consolidation loan. He refused. She tried her mom. Also refused. Even Lauren said no. Then she hit rock bottom of audacity. She launched a crowdfunding campaign. Help a domestic abuse survivor recover from financial exploitation. I'm not kidding. The campaign featured photos of her crying, a fabricated story about how I'd conned her into debt with sophisticated financial schemes, and a request for $100,000 to rebuild her life. It raised $37 in 3 days. Someone donated $2 with the comment, LOL. Lauren sent me screenshots of Mia losing it in their family group chat, demanding everyone share the campaign, calling them unsupportive when they refused. Her own aunt replied, "Mia, everyone knows what you did. Stop humiliating yourself." Update 3. The legal consequences started hitting. Remember the harassment charges? Mia got arrested at her parents' house. Paul had to bail her out. The conditions included no contact with me or my employer. She violated them within a week by creating fake email accounts to send anonymous tips to my company about my criminal behavior. IT traced them back to her IP address, back to jail. This time, Paul didn't bail her out right away. Let her sit for 48 hours to reflect on her choices. Meanwhile, the divorce was finalized. She got her personal belongings, her car, which she's making payments on, 40% of the marital assets. It would have been 50%, but the judge factored in the $80,000 she took. I kept the apartment, mine before marriage, my 401k, protected since she withdrew the $80,000, my sanity. She had to pay the $80,000 credit line debt, my legal fees. Judge ruled her behavior was malicious. Court costs. The total she owed between the bank and legal fees? About $95,000. Her solution was spectacularly foolish. She tried to declare bankruptcy, except she'd transferred some assets to her parents to hide them before filing. The bankruptcy trustee caught it. Of course they did. It's their job. That's bankruptcy fraud, a federal crime. She panicked and withdrew the bankruptcy petition, but now she's under investigation. During all this, she was still living with Paul and her mom. From what Lauren said, it was rough. Mia expected to be coddled like a victim. Instead, her parents made her get a job. She's now working retail, pay rent, do chores, attend financial literacy classes. The irony. She lasted 2 weeks before having a meltdown about how everyone was punishing her for falling in love with Derek, who hasn't contacted her since vanishing. Then came her final desperate move. She reached out to my college ex Tara on social media. Tried to convince her I was a financial mastermind who'd scammed them both. Wanted to team up to expose me. Tara's response was gold. She sent me the screenshots. Mia, I dated James for 2 years. He's literally the most transparent guy I know. We broke up because we wanted different things, not because he's some evil genius. Also, girl, you stole $80,000 and got caught. Take the loss and move on. But my favorite part? Last week, I ran into Derek at a cafe. He tried to dodge me, but we ended up in line together. So I said, "How's the NFT business going?" He looked sheepish. "Look, man, I didn't know she was married at first. Don't care. But I'm curious. Did she ever invest in your scheme?" "Yeah, about $15,000. How'd that work out?" "The coin tanked. It's worth maybe $300 now." I laughed out loud. In the cafe, final update. The conclusion is both sad and predictable. Mia's debt to the bank went to collections. Her credit score is ruined. She'll be dealing with this for at least a decade. The harassment charges led to 18 months of probation and mandatory anger management classes. She has a criminal record now. Her retail job lasted 6 weeks. She got fired for yelling at a customer who she claimed judged her with their eyes. Now she's working at a call center, ironically, in collections. She tried one last desperate move, reached out through a mutual friend, asking if we could start over, saying she'd learned her lesson, and Derek meant nothing. My response via the friend, "Tell her I said good luck getting by." The friend later said Mia went berserk, screaming about how I'd ruined her life and set her up. Paul finally kicked her out after she tried to steal checks from his checkbook. She's now living with a cousin who charges her full rent and demanded first and last month up front. Lauren and I still chat occasionally. She told me Mia recently said at a family dinner that she was the victim of a complex financial conspiracy and that I'd probably been planning this for years. Her uncle, a CPA, replied, "Mia, you opened a credit line, forgot it was a credit line, stole from it, and got caught. The only conspiracy is how you got a degree. As for me, I'm doing fine. Kept my job, my apartment, my retirement savings. Started dating Elise, a woman from my hiking group who actually knows how bank accounts work. The $80,000 Mia stole? Technically, she stole it from herself, and I'd only contributed about $20,000 over the years in monthly payments. The bank considered those legitimate payments toward the credit line. So really, she played herself. Last I heard, she's in debt for the next 15 plus years. Living paycheck to paycheck, Derek's being investigated by the SEC for his NFT scheme. Her parents barely talk to her. She's banned from 3 local banks for aggressive behavior. Still posts vague quotes about surviving betrayal on social media. The moral? If you're going to drain a joint account and leave your partner with a good luck getting by message, maybe double check what kind of account it is first, and make sure it's not a credit line in your name only, because karma doesn't need my help. Sometimes people destroy themselves with their own entitlement. Good luck getting by, Mia. You'll need it for the next 15 years of monthly payments. Edit. Since people keep asking, yes, this is all legal. No, I had no duty to warn her. She set up the account, she managed it, she worked in banking. Her ignorance of her own financial setup isn't my responsibility, especially after she tried to leave me with nothing. Edit 2. For those saying I should have told her, she literally texted me she was leaving, and to good luck getting by, after stealing what she thought was our money. Why would I help someone who did that? Edit 3. Mia, if you're reading this, and Lauren says you've been obsessively searching my username, that financial literacy class you're taking, pay attention. It might help with the next 180 monthly payments you've got left.
So many of them were born during the year of, during the decade where so many of their parents died of AIDS. And they have this sense of abandonment, literally going from one family to the next family member, and then that family member dying and that family member dying. And when you grow up feeling abandoned, and certainly abandoned from an early age, you your worldview is that people are going to abandon you in their relationships. And so you either go into those relationships being very needy and afraid that this person's going to leave me, or you go into those relationships being very jealous and, holding on and having to know where you've been and looking at people's cell phones and all of that because you're afraid that you're going to leave me. And so what happened to you, no matter who you are, is important in understanding why you have the worldview that you do.
Yeah, and it applies to each and every single one of us.
Everybody.
I'm seeing a question coming in from one of our viewers tonight. G saying, how do you reach an understanding so the anger and sadness inside can calm down? I think what I'm hearing here, and I had a question too, which I think relates, is around this idea of, when you've connected the dots and you start to notice that someone's caused you pain, often that can be quite uncomfortable, and you start to now have resentment or anger or sadness, as G is saying. And G's question really is, how do you come to an understanding so that you're not feeling that anymore? Either of you would love for you to answer that.
I'll let the psychiatrist answer that.
I was going to say, rock, paper, scissors. All right. So first of all, that question is in many ways a central question to almost all people who are seeking mental health help, right? And and I wish I had a perfect answer, but it kind of relates to what happened to that person. So the place at which you want to try to help somebody repair and redevelop a capability or a connection has to kind of match where they had the loss. So the way you would do therapeutic work, for example, with somebody who had the loss of a parent at age 3 and all kinds of transitions after that, would be very different than someone who had a comparable experience at age 17. And so, not to sound like a politician, but it kind of depends. The treatment approach broadly depends upon where you are developmentally and when all this stuff happened. But in general, no matter what happened and no matter when it happened, the vehicle for providing the therapeutic experiences that will help you is the relationship. And so it really always is relationships. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of it is most therapeutic change takes place outside of conventional therapy. It takes place in these little present caring moments with friends, with family, with coaches, with teachers, with other people